Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the SSG seminar, the first SSG seminar of this year. Today's presenter is our staff, Ms. Maria Luz Malabayabas, who is presenting her research, and our supervisor is Dr. Takashi Yamano, based in our daily office. And today's chair is actually our staff, ST, Jeffrey ST Drilon. So let's pass it to him. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Taku. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker for this year's First Division seminar. Our speaker earned her bachelor and master's degree in agricultural economics at the University of the Philippines, Malabayabas. She specialized in agricultural marketing and policy and development. She is currently affiliated in the Social Sciences Division as assistant scientist under Strasza Project since 2008. The title of her presentation is Diffusion of Swarna Sub-1 seeds in Odisha and Uttar Pradesh, India, preliminary findings. So, without further ado, let us all welcome our speaker for this day, Ms. Malabayabas.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. I started working in Strasza Project Phase 1, and before, we're four in a team, the socioeconomic team. But it will be like, I don't know if it's unfortunate.
Lobby.
Okay. Sorry.
Sound like
Okay, so before we have one postdoc, we have one associate and Dr. Pandi. Now, I'm the one left. I'm the last man standing in the socioeconomic team in Strasza. Okay. My supervisor is Dr. Takashi Yamano. Before giving you my presentation, I would like to introduce who is Takashi Yamano. Okay. You haven't seen him in IRRI office. A lot of people asking who is your boss. I haven't seen your boss. He's Takashi Yamano. And he's based in India. You can email him at tyamano@irri.org. Okay. Yeah. This is the outline of my presentation. I'll be discussing you about the distribution of Swarna Sub-1 in Eastern India. And then I'll be I'll be showing you our methodology, the methodology we use here, the neighbor survey. And then showing you the preliminary findings of the neighbor survey. And also giving you a research direction or future studies. Okay. In Phase 2, we are looking at the varietal tracking and impact assessment. And our main objective here is to assess technology transfers among farmers and its impact in adopting stress-tolerant rice varieties in rice production. Okay, this graph came from Murali Nelson in 2011, and it shows here the stress-prone areas in South Asia. South Asia, yeah. As you can see, the red dots, these are the drought-prone areas, and the blue one are the submergence-prone areas. Okay, the two circles there, these are our sample area for this. The two circles here, these are the sample for this study. Okay. And also, again, Murali did an estimate of the submergence and drought-prone stress areas in Eastern India. As you can see, he has estimates for Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, and Odisha. And for submergence, around like 8% to 40% are under submergence, while drought is like 19 to 29% is under drought. So I got this from the Strasza, and they have, for the past how many years, they'll be giving us seeds. And for the Swarna Sub-1 timeline in India, they estimated that by 2011, more than 1 million farmers should receive Swarna Sub-1. And by 2012, more than 3 million farmers will receive Swarna Sub-1. So, this is the actual one. This is from Manzoor Dar of Strasza. And these are the number of farmers which the project distributed with Swarna Sub-1 in Eastern India. As you can see, from 2008 to 2011, the number of farmers increased particularly in Odisha, which reached around 30,000 farmers, and Uttar Pradesh, which reached around 50,000 farmers. So, okay, there are two organizations who keep on distributing the Swarna Sub-1 seeds. And this is the National Food Security Commission, or the NFSM, and some NGOs. If you notice here in this figure, 2000, 2009, 2008 and 2009, NGOs are the primary, they're the key, or their major roles, they have major roles in distributing Swarna Sub-1. On the other hand, in 2010 and 2011, the National Food Security Commission is the one distributing this seed. However, distributing seeds or giving it to farmers, we will not stop at that level. We need to dig in more. So we have some research questions. First, where are the seeds after we distributed it? Second, who uses the seed? Do farmers store it up or keep on planting it? And the third, this is three, I'll be focusing on this. How the seeds were transferred? Do they transfer seed based on economic class? Or do farmers transfer seed based on caste, their religion, and their productivity level? Okay. So, to answer the transfer mechanism, or the third question, our initial step was to investigate the farmer-to-farmer seed distribution through a neighbor survey among farmers who adopted Swarna Sub-1 in Uttar Pradesh and Odisha. Actually, this is a three consecutive survey. So we did the baseline survey in April to June of 2012, and then we did another in October of 2012, and then we will be doing again the third one in April to July of 2013. For baseline survey, the baseline survey of 2012, we just look at our sample. Who are the users of Swarna Sub-1 and who are their neighbors? And also the common questions like their household characteristics, their farming characteristics. In this one, we incorporated how well do you know your neighbors? As well, we also asked in this survey about the characteristics of stress, like flood characteristics, drought, and salinity characteristics per plot level. In the second one, the post-planting, in here, we asked the input use and labor use, as well as the perception. Farmers' perception about Swarna. So how they think about Swarna. Is that a good variety, not good variety? And for the last survey, the post-harvest survey, we'll be asking their output for Kharif 2012. Okay, let's first define some terms. I'll be using a lot of, I'll be referring to farmers, I call it original users. These are farmers who receive seeds from NGOs like the NIFORD and AID in Odisha. And we also use the neighbors. These are the farmers that are not listed in the regional farmers. If you notice, in this methodology, we did not use the snowball effect, that we asked the original users, or these are the one given by seeds, and ask them farmers they transfer the seed to. So we did not ask them, but rather we have another sampling. This neighbor is quite problematic because we don't have a list of farmers in the village. So we listed up three possible sources. The first is the water lists in the village. Second would be the panchayat list in the village. And the third, since it's just the national election in India was just finished 2 weeks ago before the sampling, we got to hold the voters registration list. This is the voters registration list. As you can see, there's a picture, the name of the household member, as well as the addresses. So we randomly sampled from this voters list. Okay, this is a neighbor survey. So these are the farmers. And we have these original users and neighbors. Neighbors came from the voters registration list. Okay, original users got their Swarna Sub-1 seeds from the either NGO or the NFSM. However, for the neighbor, they can get it from the original users who passed the seed or from other neighbors. And if that's the case, we classify them as neighbor user. On the other hand, there are neighbors who did not use any Swarna Sub-1 seed, and we just call it neighbor non-user. So our sample would be, in a village, there will be 4 original users and 12 neighbors. Okay, we also asked them to do, there's also a questionnaire which asks about the household and farming characteristics, as well as the knowledge about their neighbors. And we use a computer-assisted personal interviewing software. It's the Survey B, and Survey B would look like this. Okay, this is we gave this to the enumerators, and we let the enumerators fill it up. Okay, this is the example of one questionnaire. Okay, so here, for example, the self-perception, the farmers bring their computers in the field, and then instead of writing it in a questionnaire, they just fill it up, check, and So this is the survey B. We also gave them GPS to locate the adopters and non-adopters in the village. Okay, so our sample size, we had 803 farmers. Like 22% are adopters among the neighbors, and we had 52 villages in 8 districts in 2 states in India. Okay, this is our survey sites, the Uttar Pradesh and Odisha. Thanks to Nell for this map. And these 2 areas are known for their rice is their major crop. And as you can see, this is their rice yield trend from 1971 to 2010. And though their yield doubled in 2010, but as you can see, there are a lot of fluctuation, particularly in 2002, where there is a big drought in that year. So the fluctuation might be caused by those stresses. Okay, these are our main result. We characterized the flood in the area, and it shows here that 2011 Kharif is considered to be a flood year. And Uttar Pradesh experienced a longer duration of flood as compared to Odisha. And mostly they experience it in the early tillering stage or harvesting stage. This is the household characteristics, it's almost the same, but as you notice, we had most of our household are male dominated. As for the farm characteristic, the average farm size of original user is larger than the neighbors. Considering, well, as you can see, there are a lot of marginal farms in the neighbor sample. And for Odisha, there's still areas that they don't have irrigation at all, as compared to Uttar Pradesh, in which they use electric and diesel tube well. These are the major rice varieties during Kharif of 2011. And we found out that there are more than 30 varieties existing in the field, but these are the major ones. For Odisha, Puja, which is the major rice variety, while Swarna Sub-1 was in the major rice variety in Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Also, we look at the neighbors. We asked them, who among you adopt Swarna? And surprisingly, only 9% of Odisha adopt Swarna, while 35% in UP. Also, we asked farmers. It is by their year of first acquisition. And we classified them as farmers who first acquired in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. And in here in Odisha, it shows here that most of the neighbor user adopted Swarna in 2010, their first time adoption. And on the average, they first received the Swarna Sub-1 for original users, like on average, like 4.7 kilos of Swarna Sub-1. And for the neighbors, it's 11.1 kilos. For UP, 2011, most of the original users and neighbor users adopted Swarna in this stage. And they had 13.2 kilos for original users and 6.6 kilos for neighbors. So we look at the yield effects under different days of flooding during Kharif of 2011. And as you can see, in the stage where there's 0 to 7 days, the yields are comparable. when you reach 18 to 14 days, Swarna performed well. Rather, Swarna Sub-1 performed well, rather, compared to Swarna. Okay. We also look at the percentage sold among the household, and it seems to me that more than half are selling their produce. But if you notice, their price is almost the same. There's no difference between Swarna and Swarna Sub-1. I think this slide was familiar to you. It was shown in the GRIST meeting, the transfer of Swarna Sub-1. And it shows here that only 5% in Uttar Pradesh transferred the Swarna Sub-1 in 2011. Mostly, they gave it away to male farmers, like their relatives or friends. And it was given, they considered it as outsiders. As compared to Odisha, they sell it and some exchange with other rice seeds. Okay, we also asked them the relationship. Relationships and how well do you know your neighbors? And this question was asked to only neighbors, okay? And in Odisha and Uttar Pradesh, it shows here that on average, only two original users, neighbors know only 2 original users in Uttar Pradesh, in Odisha, and 4 in Uttar Pradesh. And they know the original users like 28 to 30 years, but very few gave them seeds. Very few transfer seeds to them. So I want to illustrate the relationship. Okay, this is what we got from the GPS, and it's just for UP only. There's no Odisha. As you can see, that's our sample. The small dots there. If you zoom in, this is the sample in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, smaller dots too. But we need to focus, for example, in Gorakhpur village. It's quite light. But the red one, as you can see, the square red one, these are neighbors, which are non-users. As you can see, they live beside the users, which is the yellow one. Okay, so this is a good example. Okay, for example, here there are 3 original users: Satai, Ram Singh, and Tahir Ali. And we asked the neighbors of Satai, do you know Satai? And only 2 know Satai. But as you can see, there are a lot of neighbors within the area. On the other hand, we asked the neighbors of Ram Singh. There are 3 who knows Ram Singh. And Tahir Ali, none knows Tahir Ali is the original user. This is the scenario in 2011. So this is the I think this scenario might change because of they just got the Swarna Sub-1 in 2011. So maybe they're not transferring it. And I think this question might answer or this question, like why do farmers, even though they live together, why do they don't know their neighbors at all? So I think this question can be answered in our next survey. So with this, I want to summarize my presentation. Okay, there's a higher participation of male farmers in the initial adoption of and transfer of Swarna, and also adoption of Swarna Sub-1 was low among the neighbors. However, among the adopters, high adoption was observed in 2011. And there's an acceptability of Swarna Sub-1 in local market, having a comparable price to Swarna. And the yield effect of Swarna Sub-1 adoption is prominent in 8 to 14 days. And there's a small portion of Swarna Sub-1 seeds were transferred during Kharif of 2011. So, these are our future research. We are doing the ex-ante analysis of Swarna Sub-1 in Eastern India, led by Takashi. And we are also doing the farm-level diffusion studies, such as the social network analysis, that will identify factors affecting the rapid transfer using this panel data, which I headed. And also, we're looking at adoption studies that deals on farmers' perception about attributes of the variety. We're using the theory of plant behavior in this paper. And hopefully we can do this, focusing on the institutional constraints that affect the rapid delivery of other stress-tolerant varieties, such as the Sabagidan. And I hope we can do also this, the gender studies that deals with identification and the constraints that enable the women to participate in transfer through seeds. And there's a randomized control trial done by the Berkeley team. And also, the last one is the assessment of block demonstration of the Ministry of Agriculture in India, which led by Takashi. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Malik, for that informative presentation. I now open the floor for questions and clarifications.
Malu,
Yes.
thanks for the presentations. I think a lot of good information in your study. But my question is, you have the Manju's data on the direct, the amount of seed given to number of farmers.
Yeah.
This side of the thing. Then you have your neighborhood survey.
Yes.
Can you say anything about the total adoption of Sub-1 in the state? Because the number you have, the 11%, that's not correct. That's only in the villages. Those are not random selection. You went to the village where the seed have been distributed.
Yes, we
So in those villages only Sub-1 is 11% and 9% compared.
in Uttar Pradesh.
No, it's Uttar Pradesh.
Unlike, but Sam, it's 2011. Most of the farmers got the seed in 2011. So we'll be following up in 2012. We had the data for 2012, and we're looking at the increase.
So can you go back to one of the tables where you have type of varietal thing? How many acres on the Sub-1 and other varieties just do that? There's one table there somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What exactly it means? This particular
I just
table?
want to show you what are the existing varieties during the time. Remember,
But
it's
only those villages where you went.
Yes.
And those villages where Sub-1 have been distributed.
Yeah.
So really you cannot generalize that for the whole state.
No.
So you need to be very careful because
Yeah. We just have like 800 samples, and these are just representative.
my other question is, this is very different from what we have got in Tripsa, where Sub-1 is more than 30% Odisha. Even if you add Sub-1 both, it's only 18% here in that particular resident. So
Remember, we randomly selected. We don't know if that farmer is a user or not.
I'm pretty sure Tripsa people also randomly selected it.
You randomly selected households, but you purposely selected villages.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Because we are tracking the distribution.
These are the villages where Sub-1 have been distributed. Exactly. So you cannot generalize it for the whole state. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but here we just want to know if they transferred or
I just wanted to ask, most of what you presented here is just straight comparison of needs. Have you done used any econometric techniques to try and account for the fact that, particularly when both you have bias in terms of those who get selected for receiving the mini kits, and I don't know if they're part of the population we're comparing means, and also those who choose to adopt a variety versus those who don't. There are probably important differences in characteristics, and some of them may be unobservable with the condition of performance of the variety. Have you used any econometric techniques to try and correct for that?
We're looking at the it's one of our feature researchers. I don't know if we're looking at this one, the factors we're using it because the first survey actually is just a baseline, so we don't know what we're getting. And then we follow it up on the second survey. Probably we can use that when we got the results of the second survey.
I mean, you could even with the first survey, if you, for example, I don't know how the survey was structured, but if you asked about, say, multiple plots in terms of input-output information.
There's no input in the first survey, so we'll be getting it in the second survey.
The yield, then what does the yield come from? It's only output, no input.
Yes, the output only for 2011. 2011.
Okay.
But they have collected input.
The second survey.
Second,
Ah.
not in the first.
Because if you have input-output information from multiple plots, you could do far more fixed.
The output will be gathered on the third survey. We cannot, okay, it's difficult to do a recall, so we thought of going back on the third survey on the same sample. So inputs will be collected on the second survey, input use, for 2012 Kharif, and then we'll be going back on April to ask about their output.
Okay, so you have a two-stage survey.
Yeah, three-stage.
Okay. Okay. And then I just might as well ask that another thing before we move on to other questions. I was a little puzzled by one thing that seemed a little bit self-contradictory, and that was you referred to higher rates of Sub-1 adoption in Eastern Uttar Pradesh, but much less farmer-to-farmer diffusion. How do you explain those contradictory results?
Higher adoption in Uttar Pradesh, but less transfer.
Yeah, much less transfer.
Okay, that's a nice question. I was thinking of, this Swarna Sub-1 is a specialized crop. Not that they have a higher yield or whatever. Farmers usually reserve it for submergence from blood. I was thinking of they adopt it, but they just keep it. So they keep it. Yeah, they sold.
But the overall transfer included sales and gifts. Right?
Yeah, and they just gave it away. They gave it away.
Well, because you have a slide. The slide where you had the transfer. Can we go back to that? Maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I think that UP the adoption is high because of the
because the transfer seeds, that includes both sales and exchange, right?
Transfer seed.
It gives sales, exchange all together would add to those percentages, correct?
We just asked them if they transfer it.
Could allow me to speculate a little bit on this.
Thank you, Dr.
Swarna actually is well known in Odisha and Uttar. And it is a phase variety to be released, and the government of UP really took a huge effort to try to spread as quickly as possible. That didn't happen in Odisha for a long time. But I think the spread from farmer to farmer in Odisha is mainly because this variety is very well known to farmers. And stress there is also quite high. So probably that would help it to move a bit quicker in Odisha from farmer to farmer than in UP.
Yeah, but as you remember, this is from the 2011 or baseline, and that time also the government the state government just gave a lot of adoption during 2011. So we don't know. Well, let's just say I don't think.
Can we go back to the previous bar chart also, where you show the
For UP?
For UP. So here,
It's
most of the adoption, it seems to be coming through neighbor users, but the frequency of transfer is extremely low. So I don't understand how those results stick together. Is there an explanation?
Complicated question.
Here, most of the adoption in UP is coming through neighbor users, but the frequency of transfer is extremely low. So I don't understand how those results fit together.
Okay, these are just the number of farmers who started adopting in 2011. So we cannot expect it to transfer right away. That's my thinking. So we can
his
expect.
point is those two numbers, this graph and the numbers will be consistent.
Okay.
So they're all from 2011. Here you're saying the neighborhood.
But these are just the adopters.
But this is
We
original.
classify this the farmers who adopted in 2008, 2009, 10, and 11.
Just 11. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's only 11.
So I don't think it's connected because you can be an adopter in 2011. No, you cannot track. It's your opinion. It's your thing if you're gonna transfer it or not. So not all adopters can want to transfer it.
But if they're a neighbor user, it must have been transferred to them from another farmer.
Yes,
So then I don't understand how that aligns with the low transfer rate.
I think this is of the 5% neighbors who received it. What year did they receive it? So these add up to 100 of that 5%. 100% of that 5. Not total population, just of the 5% who got it.
Okay.
80% got it in 2011.
Okay.
10% got it in 2010.
Oh, okay, okay. Now
But
I'm
we
just-
just classify the farmers based on the year they received it.
Okay, okay.
So it's not connected with the transfer.
Okay.
Yeah, since I have the mic, I also ask a quick couple of questions. First, thanks for the presentation. We always think social scientists should solve all our problems and answer all our questions, particularly adoption and spirit, and a lot of our questions that cannot answer actually. We are under quite a bit of pressure from the foundation and others actually to look at real-time monitoring. Monitoring for seed distribution. And that's really a big challenge for us, and it's clear from your presentation is we're focusing on farmer to farmer, which we call it informal distribution, but relatively at a small scale compared to the progress of the program. And also, Brazil and others are getting overwhelmed by the amount of number of partners that are already in process and also capturing accurate data. So we need really even the involvement in the formal sector. We talked to Takashi about that also. I don't know, I haven't seen this in our future perspectives, but how do you see we can handle this? I think this is probably the most pressing thing for us right now is really to have a clear estimate of the real time. We actually want to know after each season how far we went. How can we do that well?
And maybe ask Takashi.
Just even Takashi. This is just a sample of what we have, and I think it's a management decision definitely. So.
But what my question is to answer Abdul's question, can you take this neighborhood survey and upscale it to talk anything about the total adoption? So they have a very good idea about the seed pushed through the NFSM or whatever. But what we need to know, the farmers so that we can add both of these to talk about.
If you can increase the number, it's much better. But you know, we are constrained to a lot.
But your coverage is very small. Right?
Yes, very small.
Anyway, keep that in mind. I think it's something that we need to discuss with you. I have one more question, which would be very helpful to us too. Is when there is constraints, it's always better to know why that problem is, and it's clear there is some places there is bottleneck in even farmer to farmer movement of seeds. How can we encourage that process? And I hope that from the questionnaire, from the knowledge, we will answer your questions from some of the basic farmers to see why are they not targeting their neighbors. And how can we make them do that? Is there somebody even is doing incentives for them? Like a little bit of subsidy, actually the governments are going to do that. In Bangladesh, we see this going quite well because I think probably the green market, I don't know what. So we see some farmers selling their seeds about more than 20 times actual price. And that encourages them to really sell all the seeds and then buy the price for themselves. Which is good at early stage. You don't expect this to continue after release saturation. This is a very important process at the beginning to encourage those farmers to disseminate or sell maximum of their seeds and keep very little their seeds and propagate food for the side.
That's a nice suggestion.
Actually, there is a little bit of work going on related to this topic that I just maybe worthwhile mentioning. Kyle Enrick at UC Berkeley is doing part of his dissertation on that topic of trying to have a randomized controlled trial with a seed intervention for Sub-1 to see if that accelerates the diffusion process. So you may want to get in touch with them to learn more about what to do. That's cool. He's in Berkeley. He goes directly to
I'm just wondering, it's a little bit slow to track the seeds through neighbor to neighbor. Can we tap the use of mobile phone?
Yes.
Because almost every farmer now has a mobile phone. So I don't know whether that is possible to use that
Just
in
to
that
track that they're
upscaling.
using it.
Yeah, to scaling. Because every farmer has a mobile phone, and if you can have sort of ask them their cooperation, whether they can just give that information, who did they give the seeds, a simple.
So you call them and
Yeah, they can give that information or an extension service or link with them, because this is, I think, quite slow to track through neighbor to neighbor.
Actually, one of the major problems is to know who are the neighbors. We don't have the list. We don't know where to get the list. Good thing there's a voters list during the time. So we got to hold of the total number of farmers in the village.
We also, just one other quick comment, we have a randomized controlled trial in Sub-1, and we tried to track what was going on by calling the farmers on the phone. And we found we got very spurious information.
Spurious.
Yeah, I mean, it brought out a lot of bias because, for example, they misrepresented the variety how it was performing because they hoped, I mean, they knew there was no verification if you're just talking over the phone, and they hoped to get compensation for underperformance of the variety. So the ability to capture accurate information over the phone when you're not face to face with the farmer, I think, is inherently constrained.
Okay. I think Amelia.
Oh, well, I was just wondering what kind of adoption rates were you expecting? Because, I mean, I think from what Sam said, it seemed a little bit high, but to me, I thought, like, everybody was growing Swarna Sub-1. I thought, everyone's thankful to Bill Gates and we're all really excited. So,
Amelia, these are areas where Swarna Sub-1 was distributed. So we're expecting higher adoption.
But still, you saw only like 11%?
yeah, I think that's pretty high. If it is total Odisha, that's pretty high.
Yes.
Odisha 4.3 million hectares, that is 11% is 500,000 hectares. That's around million farmers are doing it. I think that's too high. I think if we have reached half of that, still it's a big number. But thing is, you only went to the village where they're going so the summer.
Sure.
So I don't think you went to other places. So I think.
Are there any other questions, clarifications? Okay. On that note, let us again give a round of applause to Ms. Marie for giving us the first division of this year. Before we have our group staff, on behalf of SSC families, I would like to welcome our two new staff. Renato Toledo joined our division in January 2000 this year as associate scientist under CCA. Another was Jeffrey Bigler from as PhD affiliate scholar from Purdue University under Dr. Sam Brackett. Another reminder, the second SSC Division Seminar will be on January 22nd next week from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. The speaker is Professor Masako Fujii from Chiba University, Japan, and his presentation is entitled The Structure of Emerging Rice Market in Uganda. Thank you and have a good day.